Okay, this is exercise 8.9 homework problems. First one we're looking at is question 1K. Y equals x times the square root of 2 minus x. We've got two functions here in x. The first one is x times, we need to write this as a power, so it would be 2 minus x to the power of a half. So over here I'm going to write that u is what? The first function, which is x, u dash is 1. V is 2 minus x to the half. V dash is, bring the half to the front, 2 minus x to the negative a half times, don't forget to differentiate what's inside. Now, times negative 1 because we're differentiating what's inside. Now, and a few people may have forgotten to do that. So you bring the half down, write it out, drop the power of a half by 1, but don't forget to differentiate what's inside. So what's a half times negative 1? Negative a half. So the 1's on the top, the 2's on the bottom. This, I'm going to keep it. So girls, for product rule, don't factorize. So it's negative a half, 2 minus x to the negative a half. Sorry, that's, no, don't bring it down for product rule when you factorize. You don't. Okay? The reason is, so let's do product rule now. So dy dx is u times v dash plus v times u dash. As long as, girls, it doesn't matter if you do v u dash and u v dash, as long as there's a normal u with a v dash and a normal v with the u dash. Because it's plus, so the order's not going to matter. But when we do quotient rule, the order will matter. Okay? So it's u, which is x, times v dash is a half, 2 minus x to the negative a half, plus v is 2 minus x to the positive half, and u dash is 1. Now, girls, we've got to look for common factors. 2 minus x to the negative a half, because negative a half, it's always the smaller power. Negative a half is smaller than positive a half. And the difference between them is 1. So it's the negative a half you pull out. Because if I had 2 minus x squared and 2 minus x cubed, you'd pull out 2 minus x squared. Negative a half is smaller than positive a half. So you pull that out. And we've pulled that out. What's left over here? X times negative a half is what? Negative x on 2, if you want. Plus, now the difference between negative a half to bring it up to positive a half would be a power of 1. So it's plus 2 minus x to the power of 1. Because look, if you multiply now the term outside, 2 minus x to the negative a half times negative x on 2 will give you your first term. 2 minus x to the negative a half times 2 minus x to the positive 1. The bases are the same, so we add the negative a half and the 1 to give us positive a half. Now wait, that 1 may as well not be there. This 1 here. Oh, times 1 doesn't make a difference. So you've got 2 minus x to the negative a half, negative x on 2, plus, open your brackets, plus 2 minus x. So I'm going to write this 2 minus x to the negative a half as 1 over 2 minus x to the half is what? Root 2 minus x. Now what's negative? That's really negative a half x minus x. Isn't that negative a half x minus 1x is negative 3 on 2x? Negative 3 on 2x plus 2. Oh, I know what they've done. They don't have the negative. Have they got negative 3x plus 4 or something? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Because what they're doing, girls, they're multiplying. Yeah, because negative. Yeah. Are they multiplying by 2? You'd have to multiply by 2 over 2.
They're multiplied by 2.
So is the answer a 2 on top?
No, it's 4 minus 3x.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. On 2 root 2, yeah. So girls, what they're doing, this is what they're doing, watch. Notice I've got a fraction and a whole number. I'm going to write that as negative 3 on 2x plus 4 on 2. You okay with that? We'll go one step at a time. Do you get what I've just done there? Instead of doing fraction plus whole number, I've gone fraction plus fraction with the same denominator. Well, it's negative a half minus 1. They're x's. Negative a half x minus 1x. Are these like terms with the x's?
Yeah.
Well, what's negative a half minus 1? Negative 1.5, which is negative 3 on 2. Now, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take about 3 steps to do this, just because it's the first time. Now, what's the denominator here?
2.
And instead of writing negative 3x plus 4, I'm going to write 4 minus 3x. You okay with that? Can you see how they got the answer now?
Yeah.
So it's 4 minus 3x is on the top. And 2, see, that times that times that. That would be 2 outside of the 2 minus x.
So what is it? 1, 2 times that? You have to do that.
Look, it is better. This is a much simplified version to do this. Try and do it, please. They're both correct, but why?
It says it's x, negative x over
2 root. Yeah, the answer is like the final.
You sure you're looking at the right question?
Yes.
They did have factorize.
That. And look from down. That's the answer in the book.
What? That's not simplified. Let's.
Yeah, but that's how they left it.
I wouldn't. Wait, 1 second.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
Because
Problem with question 8? All right. Find the exact values of x for which the gradient of the tangent to the curve is 14. So they're giving you the dy dx is 14. They're not making you substitute x equals 14. First thing we need to work out is dy dx. And we know that's uv dash plus vu dash. So we work it out over here. What's u? There's your function, u and v. 2x. I want everyone to sit there and to do u dash, v dash, and substitute it in. All right? I'm going to pause the video. 2x, u dashed is 2. V is x plus 3 squared. You know what you could do with this? Because it's so simple. Oh, no. You could... Oh, no, leave it. V dash is 2 bracket x plus 3 to the power of 1 times, differentiate inside, 1, which is just 2 bracket x plus 3, or you could even write it as 2x plus 6. All right, leave it because you've got to factorize later. All right, so leave it because with product rule, we don't want any simplification here. Otherwise, it's going to make it harder later. So let's substitute in. Because really, with product rule, every time you substitute it in, you've got to pull out the common factors. So I don't want this expanded. I don't want what we were doing before simplified. Keep it as negative a half. Don't change it. So u is 2x. V dashed is 2 bracket x plus 3. Plus v is, and u dashed is 2. Now, we've got 2 terms here because terms are separated with pluses and minuses, not with times symbols. If things are multiplied together, they're the one term. So what's in common? Look at the numbers first. Yeah, well, 2 is definitely a common factor, but not the x. Then an x plus 3 is common. So what's left over? We've got another 2x left over. The x plus 3 is done. Plus, we've got another lot of x plus 3. Now we need to expand that bracket. 2x plus x plus 3 is what? Expand this. 2x plus x plus 3. 3x plus 3. Now I can see why you're getting this one wrong. Look at the second bracket. What can you do with the second bracket? Take the 3 out. It's a common factor. So you've got 2 bracket x plus 3 times 3 bracket x plus 1. So it's 6 bracket x plus 3, x plus 1. Do you see that? So see this 3x plus 3, you've got to be able to recognize that that can be factorized. And that's what I'd be doing there, pulling out. Look, you don't have to. You'll still be able to work it out. But it's if you were just asked to differentiate this, you wouldn't be leaving it with the 3x plus 3. You'd have to know to pull out the 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. Now, we're still not finished. Yep, it's question 8. So now you have to find the values of x for which the gradient of the tangent is 14. We know that dy dx is 14. That's what they're telling us. The gradient of the tangent is 14. dy dx is 14, not x. dy dx is 14. So now we go 6x plus 6 bracket x plus 3 times x plus 1 is 14. Why did I go and do that? You're going to have to expand this whole thing now. Make it into a quadratic and solve it. All right? No other way. You don't go and put the 6 down on the other side and... No. So I really didn't need to multiply through that. I didn't need to take the 3 out, but who's to know? Do you know what I mean? So let's start. Let's keep the 6 here. Expand the others and you get x squared plus 1x plus 3x, which is plus 4x plus 3. Expand more, x squared plus 24x plus 18. Now I'm going to bring the 14 over. Or I can just go that. Now I'll go 6x squared plus 24x, what? Plus 4. Wait, before we go, are they all even? 6, 24 and 4. Divide them all by 2. Divide them all by 2. 3x squared plus 12x plus 2 is 0. So you're dividing everything by 2. The reason we're doing that is to make the factorization easier. Then we factorize. We're hoping it's going to work out nicely. Oh, is it a quadratic? It's not going to work? Oh, forget that. So x negative b. So it's negative 12 plus or minus the square root of. B squared is 144 minus 4 times 3 times 2 over 2 times 3 is 6. Girls, notice I always write that bit out, especially if there's some negatives. You don't want to mess this up. Negative 12 plus or minus the square root of. 144 minus 48 is 24. 120 over 6. Negative 12 plus or minus the square root of. Think of some squared numbers. 4 times 30 over 6. Negative 12 plus or minus 2 root 30 over 6. Divide, yeah. Or what you do, girls, you put them both over 6 if you want, or you just divide everything by. Look, you can write your answer in 2 ways. I could go negative 12 over 6 is negative 2, and 2 over 6 is 1/3. You can do it like that, or you can see that they're all even, and you're pretending you're factorizing out a 2 from the numerator, or you go like this. Or I don't want people messing this up. So you can go 2 bracket negative 6 plus or minus root 30 over 6. So I don't want this. So you could do it that way that I've just done, or you take out 2 from the numerator and you do some cancelling with the denominator and you get negative 6 plus or minus, something's under here. What's under here? There's a fault in the paper. There's a lump in the paper. Yes. A production, yeah. So negative 6 plus or minus root 30 on 3. Look, I know you know how to divide these by 2, but some of you don't. And some of you get it wrong. So if you're all comfortable, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. You're really just dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2. But if you're going to mess it up, you take the 2 out first. You keep doing that until you don't get it wrong anymore. Right? So if you're doing things with fractions and getting the wrong answer, well then go common denominator if you have to, or go and use the safe method until you're confident with using the new method, all right? All right. So therefore the answers are x is negative 6 plus or minus root 30 on 3. Negative 6 plus root 30 on 3, negative 6 minus root 30 on 3. Okay, 9, differentiate equation of the tangent at the point where x is negative 1. So we do dy dx. What do we do next? Substitute. X is negative 1. That's the point where x is negative 1. If you substitute x is negative 1 into the derivative, you get the gradient of the tangent. Then we're going to need the point gradient formula. Problem is we haven't got a point. But we've got the x value of the point, y value. Either. It doesn't matter. So let's just, differentiate first. U is, or you can find the point. 4x minus 1. U dashed is 4. V is 3x plus 2 squared. V dash, 2 to the front. 3x plus 2 to the 1 times 3, which is 6 bracket 3x plus 2. Keep going. Go. Okay, U,
4x minus 1.
V dash, 6 bracket
3.
plus 2. The worst thing you could go wrong is you mess up your algebra, so you've just got to be really careful with your algebra. V is
3.
to the power of 2, and U dash is 4. Can you see, girls? Did you have the question? Yeah. So now common factors, underline your terms if you have to, because you'll only have 2 terms. U V dash is a term and V U dash is a term. Look at everything separately. Numbers first. 3, no, 2, yes. Then 3x plus 2, how many of them? Just 1. Bracket, what's left? Well, the 3's left. Bracket, 4x minus 1's left. Plus, there's a 2 left in the numbers. And 1 3x plus 2. Close bracket. 2 bracket 3x plus 2. Now let's open this second bracket. I'll just focus in a bit more here. I'll just make it a bit bigger. What do we got? 12x minus 3 plus 6x plus 4. 2 bracket 3x plus 2. 18x? Great. Good. So that's your f dashed x. Not your fx, your f dashed x. Excellent. So what do we do now? Find the equation when x is negative 1. So we substitute x is negative 1. That gives me the gradient of the tangent. 2 bracket. What's 3 times negative 1? Negative 3 plus 2. What's 18 times negative 1? So it's 2 times negative 1 times negative 17. F dashed x is the gradient function, and by substituting in different values of x, you can find the gradient of the curve or the tangent to the curve at any value of x. So we want the gradient of the tangent when x is negative 1. Because see, we want the equation of the tangent when x is negative 1. To do the equation of the tangent, you need the gradient and the point. So by substituting x is negative 1 into the derivative, you get the gradient of the tangent. So everything with first derivative is gradient of tangent. Everything. Yeah? All right. What do you get? 34? Now we need the point. That's what you were talking about. Sub x is negative 1 into your function of x. Some people like to substitute that point at the very beginning so that they've got their point and on the side, because then they might forget to do it later. So I think that's what you were asking earlier. If you want, substitute that x is negative 1 into your original equation to get your point. And we get that the point, what would it be? X is negative 1. Negative 4 minus 1 times negative 3 plus 2 squared. Negative 5 times 1. Because negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 5. So your point, sorry girls. So girls, our point, what's our point? Negative 1, negative 5. And the gradient is 34. And now you write, girls, you need to let them know what you're doing. Equation of tangent, at least write that. So off we go. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Y plus 5 is 34x plus 1. And I'm going to keep this one in y equals mx plus b format. And I've just brought the 5 over. So girls, you've got a positive gradient of 34 and a y-intercept of 29. So I just took that 5 over now. Or you can leave it there and rub that off, whatever. Okay? All good? Quotient rule. It's not hard, it's easier. Yes. Are we done? Devon, when you say quotient, no one knows what you're talking about. What's the quotient? It's the division. It means to divide. Or it's the divisor or whatever it is. But the quotient rule is if you're doing not one function times the other, but one function divided by the other. So if y equals u over v, then dy dx is v du dx, now I don't like to write it like that, minus u dv dx over v squared. Now we don't write it like that. Instead of writing v du dx, we write it as v u dash, because du dx means u dash minus u v dash. Now please don't do the u dash twice. So it's vuv over v squared. And the first one, girls, is the normal one and then the derivative, minus the normal one and then the derivative. Okay, so it's different to uv dash plus vu dash. All right? So it's vuv over v squared. Notice the first one is not, so you've got one without, one with the derivative, one without, one with the derivative. But the v's got to be first and you've got to have a minus sign. Okay, so let's do some examples. Okay. vu dash minus uv dash over v squared, vuv over v squared. Okay.
Is that why when I do the product, I put it like that? With the plus and
They write it in your book as u dash v minus v dash u. I don't like that. I like vuv. Vuv over v squared. Now, with product, you can do vuv with a plus if you want. But yeah, like you can do uv dash plus vu dash, same thing. All right? All right, let's do some examples. So I'll just do some questions from the exercise. Let's do question 1. If we're going to do A, C, E. Let's do 1F. So y is 5x plus 4 over x plus 3. Find dy dx. So just the same thing. Vuv, vu dash minus uv dash over v squared. Over the side, work them out. What's u? So here's examples, EGs. U is 5x plus 4. U dash V dash, not hard, is it, so far? All right, do you need, is the board too low, is that why? Oh, all we do, we just, one sec, put it in. V is x plus 3 times u dash is 5, minus u is 5x plus 4 times v dash is 1, over v squared, which is x plus 3 squared. Now, you never expand the denominator. Do not expand the denominator. So no crossing out. No, because x plus 3 is not in common with both. Both of those terms are over x plus 3 squared. You would never cancel them out. Expand your numerator and you get 5x plus 15 minus 5x plus, no, minus 5x minus 4 over x plus 3 squared. Do not expand the denominator. And what do you get? 11 over x plus 3 squared. All right, that looked like an easy example. Let's do some harder ones. No, you leave it down there because it's a positive power. Next question is question, let's do question, how much time do I have?
10 minutes.
Question T. Yes, question 1T. 2x over x plus 5 to the power of a half. 1R. 1R. Question 1R. All right. Now, everything's fine the way it is. I don't want to see square roots. Do not lift this power of a half up to the top. It's one function divided by the other. It's quotient rule. So u is? U dash is 2. V, I've just done u on the top row. V is x plus 5 to the half. V dash is a half to the negative a half times differentiating side 1, which is just a half x plus 5 to the negative a half. Just be careful the way I've written this.
Miss, quick question. V squared would just be x plus 5.
Yes, yeah. So v squared would be x plus 5 to the power of a half squared. I'm just going to work that out down here for this particular one, which is just x plus 5 to the half times 2 to the 1. So it's just x plus 5, v squared. So let's go. dy dx is vu dash. I want you writing that formula. Mrs. Mann and I, we just went to this HSC marking thing. How many people got the formula wrong? All right, they got the formula wrong. VU dash minus UV dash over V squared. Do not go and substitute, because especially if you've got negatives over here, if you don't write that formula, you're going to make a mistake, and it's not worth it. One mistake, minus 1 mark. And if you keep taking these shortcuts, you're going to lose a lot of marks very quickly. So be safe, write the formula out. V is a half. Girls, with this one, I think to the negative a half. That's V. That's V. Sorry, times 2 minus
2x.
U is 2x times x plus 5. No, I've missed the half. Give me tape. Sorry, girls, made a bit of a mess of this one. All right. So we've got V times U dash minus U, V dash, oh, damn.
Are you allowed to pull out a common factor?
Sorry about that. No, I keep ruining it. Oh, you're going to have no tape left. Times V dash. I think we do, girls. We are pulling out a factor. V squared is x plus 5. Shh. Girls, I think you need to pull out a common factor, because there's no other way of really simplifying this. It's just that it happens more with the product rule. So,
Pull out x plus 5 to the half, negative a half.
to the negative a half. Because there's a negative here. There's a negative half there, look.
How did you get that?
Because that's U, V dash. V dash has got the negative a half. So, pulling out the common factor, x plus 5 to the negative a half, bracket, what have I got? 2 minus, what's 2x over 2? X. Bracket, what do I do now? Nothing. Oh, I've just ruined it. Is it? All right, but we're just going to do it anyway. So let's fix it. X plus 5 to the negative a half is pulled out. What do I do? 2. That's right. X plus 5 to the 1. Thank you. Minus x. I don't know why they don't pull it out, because... So, girls, we pulled out... This is just what we were doing before. We pulled out x plus 5 to the negative a half was pulled out. We're left with 2, x plus 5 to the 1, minus... Now, we've got 2x times a half here, and they cancel. Minus x. And that's already the minus half that's pulled out. So, we've got x plus 5 to the negative a half. Isn't that... Oh, I'll just leave it for now. Bracket. What have I got? 2x plus 10 minus x. X plus 10 over x plus 5. I'm just going to keep going here. I want to show you something. Girls, isn't this negative a half? What's this to the power of? I mean, they've left it. But if I did simplify it, girls, why don't I bring that down there? Isn't that x plus 10 over x plus 5 to the half times x plus 5? Do you agree?
Yes.
Bases are the same down the bottom? What do you do with the indices? to the 3 on 2. I'm just going to, I can square root of that cubed. But look, the question's written with a positive a half anyway, so you wouldn't need to. But they haven't simplified the answer in the back, and people don't tend to really with quotient. Unless you needed to go and, we will later when you need to put this equal to something and solve it. You can't leave it the way it was. It'd be too messy. So this really, if you had to rewrite it, it would be square root of x plus 5 cubed. But you don't need to in this question because the question is with the power of a half. It doesn't have to be written with no fractional powers. All right? All right, another question. I'm going to do 1x. You got that one?
Yeah, it's gonna go 4 minutes.
I know, I can still do 1x. I'll just leave that up and start writing down 1x. Question 1x. If y is the square root of x squared plus 1 over x minus 9 squared, differentiate it.
So,
You ready?
can we get rid of the square roots?
You have to differentiate it. So what have we got? U is
X squared plus 1 to the half.
x squared plus 1 to the, because you can't differentiate it the way it is. Do you need that other question anymore? Yes? All right. U dash. Bring the half to the front. What do we do? To the negative a half. Bring it down, write it out, drop the power by 1 times by the derivative inside. 2x. Now what happens with the 2x and the 2? You just get x bracket x squared plus 1 to the negative a half. That's what u and u dash are. What's v? And v dash bracket to the 1 times 1.
V squared.
So it's just 2 bracket. No, you don't. The only reason I did v squared for the other one because it had the power of a half. V squared we know is just going to be to the power of 4. I'll do it here. V squared, girls, we don't normally do it. It's x plus 9 squared squared. Got it? Do you see that? Because that's what v is already squared. What do you get? X minus 9 to the 4. Don't you multiply the indices? Girls, v squared is x minus 9 to the 4. Because the squared, the 2 gets times by the 2. You're multiplying. Remember that? Sure. All right, let's go. VU dash minus UV dash over V squared. V, where are you? Oh, you can't see the question. All right. X minus 9 squared, that's V. U dash is this monster. I'm not going to fit it. Minus V is that. Oh, give me U. U is VU dash minus U times V dash over V squared. What's in common? Well, no numbers. We've got an X minus 9. We've got an X squared plus 1 to the negative a half. Now, that's all that's in common. What have we got left? One X and an X minus 9. Minus. What's left here? There's a 2. And what else? X squared plus 1 to the 1. Girls, I pulled out an x minus 9 and an x squared plus 1 to the negative a half. there was one x left over in the first term and an x minus 9 over x minus 9 to the power of 4. Because we pulled this out, we've still got a 2 left in the second term here, and x squared plus 1 to the positive 1. Because negative a half plus 1 is positive a half. Which is x minus 9. I'll just leave that up there. I don't think they even simplify this, do they? Has anyone looked at it? Or they did this time. Over x squared minus 9x, sorry, what else? Minus 2x squared minus 2. Did they also move that denominator down or not? Minus 2x squared minus 2 over x minus 9 to the power of 4. So girls, they've moved this x squared plus 1 to the negative a half down. One of the x minus 9s, yeah. So we've got x minus 9. Let's just do this one step at a time. So this is what we've got. Leave the x minus 9 here. Write this one down the bottom as x squared plus 1 to the half. And simplify this one up here. And what have we got? Now we've got minus x squared minus 9x. Girls, that's a lot of negatives. Then they don't need to be there. Girls, I'd be taking... Georgia, pop up. So girls, look, negative, negative, negative. Also, let's cross off one of these x minus 9s. So cross that one off, and this will now be 3. Got that? Yeah. So let's pull the negative out on the numerator, and we get x squared what? Plus 9x plus 2 over... Did they write this as square root? Yep, and it is because it was written with the square root in the question. X squared plus 1 times x minus 9 cubed. So girls, sorry, there is a bit simplification. The homework will be this exercise. Exercise 8.10. I'll just choose some from, maybe let's do 1C, 1, I don't even know which questions I did. I did F. Let's do 1C, 1I, M, P. You got a few to practice. And I'd do S. So exercise 1, CIMPS. Let's do U. V and W, because they're both a bit different. And do questions 2 to 7 as well, the worded problems. Got it? 1 CIMPS UVW, questions 2 to 7. You need the practice.
Miss, I was in the next one. 8.11.
I'll do it on Monday with, on Monday I'll do 8.11 and 8.1.
Sorry about the